Yes, everybody, we are back. The Washington Wrestling Rankings Podcast. Sam, back with another one. I am Flex Matt. That's what they call me. He is Sam Otto, and we have the junior dual team coaches with us here today, Sam. But I want to tell you one thing. You are one of the hardest working guys out there. I promise you. They ain't nobody doing what you're doing right now, and that's the honest truth. I just want to tell you, man, from me to you, you don't know how many people have came up to me. It's like, man, it's so, we're feeding the people. It seems like they love what you're doing, what you're putting together, man. I just want to say congratulations. You're doing such a good job. We hit over 2,000 followers. When we were talking about this, I think you were at 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, somewhere around there. We're almost like 1,000 more, man. Congrats. Good job. You're crushing it.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, we're working hard out here, and it's not just me. It's a team, and the mission statement was laid out in episode 1 about what we want to do, and we haven't wavered from that. And it's about this. It's about getting Washington wrestling elevated to the highest level possible, and we're trying to do that. We're putting out content, and we're putting out content and podcasts for you guys, for us to to see and to get everybody recognized, and here we are. We're on episode 6 of our podcast, so I'm fired up. We got junior dual team coaches on. Didn't work out the first time that we tried to have them on. I know they had a late night on day 1 of freestyle, and the boys were tired, and we had to make that call. But without further ado, we
So I just want to let you know I'm laughing because some of the guys are already on this. Trey Haynes, our guy, Trey Haynes says yo. And then apparently Coach Ruben, he turned 12 on the trip. That must be an inside job. I'm gonna bring the coaches on right now. Ruben, where are you, Ruben? I see you. He needs to get back to his camera. I'll wait. Oh, there he is. Ruben, is it true that you turned 12 years old on the stream? The boys are in the chat. They said you turned 12 years old. Is that true, Ruben?
I'm like Kyle Dake. I'm just getting younger,
So, Sam, why don't you introduce our coaches here? Just to let you guys know, we're going to try our absolute best right now to get everybody locked in, okay? Problem is we got 3 different coaches in all different areas of the world right now. One's in the car, 2's in the hallway, 3's Ruben, I don't know where you are exactly.
I'm in a hallway.
Okay, so 1 car and 2 hallways here. But there's my little guy. Comment from Trey Haynes. I don't know. It's already getting started here. Okay, I can't put the comment up. But Sam, why don't you introduce our coaches here? Cute little rascal from Josh Newer here. I think. How do you pronounce his last name?
I think it's Nywert.
Nywert?
Yeah.
Nywert? Is that what it is?
Nywert.
Also had a comment. Coach Kaler, good luck at Nationals. Go ahead, Sam. Tell us where our coaches are and who do we got here?
Yeah, so we got Coach Anthony Zuniga, who is the father of one of our guests that we've had on our podcast, Justice. He's also got Jeremiah over wrestling at NIC, and then Keanu, who'll be back at Toppenish this year, and a couple more Zunigas running around getting ready to wrestle in high school as well. And he was one of the coaches out there at Junior Duels, and then Ruben, a wrestler that was wrestling, when Matt and I were around, and continues to give back to the sport. Coach Navejas has been doing the national team and junior duels or dual teams in general for many years now, and has contributed tremendously. So we got him on as well. And then third is Jeff Kaler. Coach Kaler is the father of Brandon Kaler, who is also on one of our episodes recently as well. So it was our last episode, and it was a part of the coaching staff. So we got all 3.
And where's Kaler at right now?
Yeah, let's ask Jeff. Jeff, where are you at?
Jeff, can you hear us? Where are you in the world? Can he hear us? See, the thing about Jeff is that he's
Can you hear
moving.
me?
Oh, well, there you are. Yeah, he's moving about the hotel that he's at right now, which is a tough place to be because the internet connection is not the best. So sometimes this is how the podcast is going to go today, guys. So this is kind of how we're going to get this, but we got a lot to talk about. But Jeff, are you there? Can you hear us now? All right, Jeff, we ain't gonna basically, Jeff, we ain't gonna.
I'm walking
ask
around
you,
the hotel.
Yeah, I can see. That's the thing. We can see it, but we can barely hear you. Let's get this thing started off here, guys. And I got a tough question for you guys. And here's the thing. I'm here to ask the tough questions. Sam might, not. I have to. You know what I mean? Because we want to hear what happened at 113 pounds. Okay, Coach Zuniga, I'll hand it to you first. Please, if you can you kind of describe what happened at 113 pounds?
Well, we had a kid who his parents were getting married on that Saturday. So it was Christopher Lopez, who we were trying to get on board. We were trying to figure out his flights and to maybe get him to be able to be home on Saturday in the morning. It just wasn't working out. So then we ended up getting a kid, Crew Lambro, and he just got too big. He said he couldn't make the weight. So like the last maybe a week before, he just said he couldn't make it. So we were like stuck a week before duels with no one at 113.
And you did, if I remember, because I think you reached out to our kid, Brian Nguyen, who also I think he's it was a little bit too big by the time we got there. 113 is kind of a nasty weight class, right? There's a lot of kids around there, but probably aren't around there right now. What was it really that big of a struggle? This is one thing that I think I want to kind of bring out on the podcast a little bit is, we have phenomenal wrestlers that are able to get to this dual team. How is it that we don't have 100 kids pining to get on the team? I mean, what is our recruitment like? What are we doing to try to see if we got 10 or 12 backups? I don't know. Maybe you could tell me.
I had about 4 kids. They were all our top kids in Washington. So I had like Lundquist, but he had something going on where he was going to a church retreat, so he couldn't make it. I had Christopher Lopez. His parents were getting married. He couldn't make it. Nugent was another kid. His brother was graduating. They're having a graduation party. He couldn't make it. I always had about at least 4 kids per weight class. So then we're ready to go. So in case someone just does say no or last minute, backouts, I'm always prepared. This one happened so sudden, like days before, that it was hard to get that 113 and 106 as well. Like it seems like those lighter weights, the kids want to start eating and they want to keep their weight down.
Oh, it looks like we lost Jeff. Go ahead, Sam. Let's bring it in a little bit here. Maybe we can start off with Greco. Obviously, we started with Greco, but it looks like Ruben could have competed at 113, you think, maybe?
Man, you wouldn't want to see me at 113.
Go ahead, Sam.
No, we, for folks who are watching live, we posted a lot of this stuff while you guys were there. But just to recap it, you guys were a match away from getting to All-American status. We're one or that second place match always is like a big one, right? Because you're either going to gold, silver, or you're going to bronze, copper, and in both freestyle and Greco, we couldn't pull that out. But I mean, some quality wins, beating Minnesota Red, Ohio Blue, Utah. And then we ran into Colorado and Greco for second and third in the pool, who has some incredible wrestlers on that squad. And you ended up getting 10th in Greco overall as a team, and Cohen Mattern makes all tournament team. Justice goes 8-1. Gil Mossberg 8-1. Caden Wilson 8-1. Trey Haynes 6-1. There was a lot of really good stuff out of Greco, stuff that these individual wrestlers like should be very proud of, and you coaches as well should be proud of as a team. Top 10 in the nation's great. We want to be better than that. I'm sure you guys probably expected yourselves to get to that gold, silver pool and be coming home with some bigger hardware. But to me, given the circumstances of forfeiting 113, I was super proud of you guys, and I'm sure a lot of people were as well. And then freestyle, same thing. Like we're running into a lot of forfeits at 113 and, running into some tough teams and same thing, second and third place match in pool play. And then you move on to bronze copper and it's the same thing all over again. We're trying to get top 10. We ended up getting 6th in the pool. And then, but still quality wins against, Oregon and Utah and Indiana, and then Zeke McEwen getting all tournament team there going 6-0. So, I mean, overall, given the circumstances, me personally, who's following this very closely, I think that you guys exceeded expectations just given the circumstances. Now, looking forward to next year, I hope that we're not forfeiting and that we get some, a full squad out there, because I think things would be different. And I'm sure you guys will talk more about that and echo that sentiment. But I don't know, Matt. What do you want to go do next?
I'm just wondering, what is our recruitment like? I don't know if any. I don't know who I should be speaking to answer the question, but what are we doing to recruit more of our kids to the postseason? Because we look at it when we're in high school, everybody's grinding so hard, and right off the bat at each weight class we have. I would say there's easily 16 kids that we can look at each weight class that I think could be dominant in postseason wrestling. Are guys, do you think guys aren't wrestling as much in the postseason? Do you think we need more guys to latch into freestyle Greco, or what do you think we could be doing on that end to getting more of these guys to the freestyle teams, to the dual teams? Because we placed 10th, like you said, in Greco, and we forfeited, and we could have easily been All-American as a dual team, So what do you think? Who wants to answer this question? I don't care. It's open forum.
Oh man, I think we got to recruit a little bit earlier in the high school season. Get these guys interested, kind of tell them like, hey, this is kind of the weight class we would like you to be at. Because a lot of this stuff, I mean, Sam, you've been on dual teams before. A lot of this stuff is last second. Like Crew Lambro, like literally he came to practice and was like, hey, I'll go 13 for you, not realizing it was like 2-3 weeks away. And I think we just got to get a little bit more buy-in during the high school season. Like, hey, we would like you at this weight. So, those kids are monitoring their weight because, once the high school season's done, these kids, they just shoot up like no other. And, they're up 2, 3, 4 weight classes. And I think, me and Coach Zuniga have been talking about, recruiting a little bit earlier, reaching out to kids like, hey, we would like you on the dual team. We'd like you, probably this weight class, maybe this. So hopefully we can get these kids a little bit locked in a little bit earlier, so we're not scrambling around those last 2, 3, 6 days before we leave the duels.
Yeah, not to mention it's a terrible time. Like these, not just like these kids just graduated or like graduating or school's over. So it's like, to have to kind of go right back into it after you got that break after high school. And then now we're in graduation season, which is kind of a tough time to get kids going. Sorry, Sam, to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, I'm entering back into this world. I took many years off, and now I'm doing this, and I'm fully submersed into it. But back in our day, Ruben, we had wrestle-offs for this stuff. Do you guys still do that, or you just have to pick the wrestler who has won freestyle and Greco State? How does the selection process work?
There's been a few wrestle-offs. You're right. There was wrestle-offs. Crazy story, when I made the schoolboy dual team, back in 2007, Taylor Meeks and Brandon Lellefield from from Deer Park, who was a stud, and Taylor Meeks, obviously Oregon State All-American, freaking his dad was the coach, and he's like, oh crap, my son's in a wrestle-off, and they end up going the full 3 matches with Meeks obviously winning, but it was crazy. just like in that time frame, Zach Zweifel and God, another kid from Spokane. They had a wrestle off as well. We've never come across that lately because we've always been able to make room. Kids go up, kids go down, or they're a backup here and there. But we haven't really done the wrestle offs lately. Maybe in the last couple years that I've been doing duels. But I would love for us to go back to the wrestle off system, because sometimes you have kids, they don't go to state, they don't go to Northwest regionals, and so we really don't know who our top talent really is sometimes. And not knocking anybody who wins Northwest regionals or state, but are they our toughest guy, our candidate for Washington?
Yeah, and I
Well,
feel like that also kind of just solidifies what the actual best wrestler is. Maybe not on that given day, but
Exactly.
we can select from just like for me it was wrestling off with one guy to try and make a spot, or sometimes it was three, and maybe we could even get to four. But so it sounds like to me, is that what you guys are trying to get towards, or is there not enough buy-in for the wrestlers to get out there and actually put their name out there, or are you just, or do you feel like you need to recruit more, or how do you think that we could get to that spot?
I think recruiting more, recruiting earlier, like, hey, our national dual team, this is what we're looking for. We would like, obviously more kids to compete at Northwest regionals and state and to come out. I just think recruiting earlier in the season would help with that. Because, our high school season's 3 months long, and, then some of those kids, they just go AWOL. And, I get it. I was, one of those guys. I didn't want to touch a mat right after the Mat Classic was done. And I just think we need to just stay in touch with a lot of these kids. Like, hey, we're thinking about you. Would love to see you compete. Especially with the new system, that VIN or WIN system, for USA Wrestling, because we want to get the kids that are competing out there, that are scoring points out there, on our dual team, that helps us, bring our what was it? Coach Zuniga, it was like our average, like your average, like what you do at USA Wrestling tournaments is
Yeah,
how
we
you
do.
were seeded this year. So
And before, it used to base off every regional tournament. So like we would get kids to want to go to Northwest regionals, Western regionals, go to the US Open, and do well. So then that'd give us placement points. And then it changed this year. It was different.
So if I understand this right, if you brought on a wrestler that didn't compete in the postseason, or maybe doesn't in general, but they're, let's say hypothetically, they're more talented than a guy that did, the wrestler who competed in maybe one Northwest regionals or state or what have you, is going to give you a higher seeding when you get to pool play and all
Yeah.
that at the tournament. Okay.
And
I
another
think
thing
that's Crew Lambro, right? Because he wasn't wrestling, I don't think, at all at that point.
no, he did not touch a mat after the state tournament. I was very happy when he came to me and said, hey, I'll do the dual team, but also kind of not realizing he hasn't touched a mat or a practice room, and since the state tournament. So,
And it seems like we're kind of dogging on Crew, but he is a dog, so like we like Crew. We like Crew. He's ranked. We rank the kid. He's great, good kid, and sucks that he couldn't make it because, yeah, no offense to Crew, but it seemed like that was the deciding factor of how we didn't, win some of these things. Go
that's
ahead.
also the reason on like we were one, like you said, we're like 7 points away from making the gold pool. If we have dogs, right? We have Lars Michelson, we have Marcos Torres, we have Smokey McClure, we have, Christopher Lopez, we have Crew Lambro. Imagine everyone coming, everyone coming to duels. Washington would be, top 8 in the country. It's, hands down, guarantee. And it sucks because, we wish when you see the lineup and people are like, oh, he's coming, like, oh, this guy's coming, and I'm sending emails to parents and I'm letting them know who's coming. People are on board at first, and then sometimes it's like, hey, well, this person has to go to school, like Lars, I understand, like he's going to Stanford, like I think he's in school already, so it's like, well, I'm not gonna say, well, don't you know what I mean? So it's hard, and especially because with junior duels, they're older. A lot of kids are senior year. They don't want to miss graduation parties. They don't want to miss, their high school graduation. But you know, in this game, like, you have to be willing to sacrifice and, you know, go to duels.
Well, and I
Like,
tell you what, I think, you know, me and Sam had had a lot of conversations about this, and to be honest, I think it's us. Yeah, I think it's really our problem, because, you know, we're really seem to be like one of the only ones doing this, and we're trying to lift that up. We're trying to get more, you know, awareness out to there, you know, and maybe we just didn't have enough awareness, you know, and that's something that we're trying to help you guys do, because you guys, you, like you said, you got to email parents, you got to maybe catch them at practice. And if you're on the other side of the state, or, you know, or maybe not connected as much, and that's really what we're trying to do, is maybe help this connected universe, where we can start saying at the beginning of the year, in November, December, or at gut check, you know, tri-state, state tournaments, like, hey, we really see some good potential in you. If you know you're 106, we maybe see at 113, maybe you don't go off the rails right after right after the season, and we can get you back in and working, and this is something that we can do, and we'd love to help you guys. Do you prospect that you'll be coaching next year as well? I would expect so.
yeah.
Is that already made, or how is the coaching selection process? Is it basically whoever, you know, because Ruben's here, you know, I don't know. Just I love you. Apparently the comments go that Ruben's 88 pounds couldn't even make 113. So that's what the comments say. But
Oh man, I
I
don't
don't know.
listen to people in the wrestlebacks, so.
Oh, geez.
Uh,
Sorry. Answer my
uh,
question though. You know,
uh,
what's the connected system like for you guys? I mean, how tough is it to even reach out to a kid that's not in your practice room, or nowhere near? I mean, what's that? How do you guys even reach out? It's like, hey, do you know this guy? Can you see if he wants to be on the dual team, or what's it like? Can you hear me?
yeah, man. I think what you guys just said, you guys kind of hit it square on the nail right there. Was the interest part. We got to get more interest and buy-in earlier, more training camps, and getting the team together as early as possible. Even, you know, let's just say you bring out 40, 45 guys. Obviously, that's not going to be your team because we have so many spots. But, you know, now we have guys to choose from. You know, we're watching them in practice. We're watching them, you know, train and whatnot. And, you know, we can't blame these kids for getting bigger after the season. You know, I know we brought up Crew, and it's not, you know, he was cutting a lot of weight to 106, and I knew 113 was going to be pretty hard to make for him. But if we can get more interest and get more buy-in early, get these kids, you know, training earlier together, hopefully, you know, we could solidify a more, you know, make sure every spot is filled. Talking with some of the other states and stuff, and, you know, you know, they're training 2 months before, you know, national duels. I was talking with somebody from Minnesota, and he says, yeah, they have 60 guys turn out, you know, and then they kind of narrow it down to like who's our best 30 guys that we're gonna bring. And a state like Minnesota, obviously a powerhouse in Greco, you know, they bring two teams, but man, even their second team is they're tough. They're tough to beat.
Yeah.
You know, um,
That should be
I
put.
was telling Coach Zuniga that because, you know, Justice had a really good match with the Minnesota cat, and I was talking to that guy's dad. And I'm like, man, you know, even your kid's good, and I was like, you know, our kid's a Fargo All American.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so
I
he
want
gets
to. I want
even,
to.
yeah.
I was just gonna say I want to give Coach Zuniga the floor, and maybe even you, Ruben, as well. What if you had a wrestler in front of you like right now, or let's say, you know, a few weeks ago, a month ago, when they're kind of on the fence? What's your recruiting pitch like for them? How would you encourage them to be on the team? Because for me, and I know Matt can echo the same sentiment, Ruben, I'm sure you could as well. It was some of the funnest wrestling that
Most fun.
funnest, yeah, like it was the most fun, the most fun wrestling experience that I've ever had. Seriously, like, you know, other than winning a state title, I was like, dude, this is the pinnacle of wrestling, being around so many good wrestlers. So what is it like if you got a wrestler in front of you and they're kind of like, oh, I'm not sure. What do you say to them?
For me, I tell them, this is, it's going to help them in their career in the high school and as they move forward as a wrestler, because you get to be surrounded by so many good wrestlers. And not only that, I tell them, this is for your state. It should mean a lot to you to compete for your state. It meant a lot to me to represent my state at a certain weight class. Like, hey, I knowing that I'm the best guy at this weight. And Sammy and you wrestled in the same era, and I was around a bunch of really good guys, the Derek Garcia, Taylor Meeks, Efren Aguilar, from all over, Cedral Woolley guys, Spokane guys, Brian Owens. It meant a lot to me that I was like on the same mat with those guys, and that I get to go compete with those dudes. I was just at the same level as those guys. And I tell them, when kids ask me about duels and stuff, I tell them, we choose you because you're one of the best in the state. And it should mean a lot to you to go compete for your state, your school, and, most importantly, yourself and your family. So,
yeah.
Coach Zuniga, you?
Yeah. I usually I let them know like it's the experience, over everything, like to be with your teammates and it's fun. Like if you've seen like the way the kids are like with Coach Ruben, with they mess with them a lot, but when it comes to wrestling, like they fear him. There's like, oh, Coach Ruben's crazy. So at the same time, like it's just the fun. Being at duels is fun. Another thing too is like I let them know like who's gonna be there. You got the Trey Haynes, you got the Noah Kioma, you got Justice, you got Dom,
Gil.
you got Gil, you have you go down the line, all the kids from Orton, AJ. They're all in the same room. A lot of people don't realize that you have the best kids from Washington, and we're putting camps together. We put at least 4 to 6 camps right before we hit duels, and then we have Camp Kusik as well. So everyone's together and everyone's building bonds already. So by the time they get to duels, then they already know what to expect.
Yeah, Trey Haynes says Ruben ain't that scary, so I don't know. I mean, it might just be a
I don't
you
listen
and
to
I
people
thing.
on the wrestle bag, so I told you.
Jesus Christ, he said this again. You said that again, Trey. Trey, we gonna call him out. You know what I mean? Shoot, we gonna call this guy out. You know what I mean?
Trey Haynes, report to the wrestle bags. That's what I always tell him.
They're going in.
I will.
Right? Yeah, we had 4 kids that were 8-0, or 3 kids that were 8-0, and I look at Ruben, and Ruben's like, they're going in, and I was like, you're going in. Like it is what it is. Like you're tired or not, you're going in. So
I can 100% echo the sentiment. I think it's a little bit different. Or it's a lot of bit different, obviously, than just going to Fargo. When you're going to duels, man, you're all team, and it's like sometimes, especially back in our day, Ruben, right? Like egos, like were at a high point back in those days. Like you're looking over, like you're supposed to be teammates, but that guy and you were fighting next year. Like that's kind of how it works. But that stuff, like we bring it up. But even during that, you're right. Some of the most fun I had. I think we were in Oklahoma or something like that. I was at the junior duel team, Kelly Kuick, Johnny Gilbertson, freaking. And we did the 1 gallon milk challenge. Okay. Nobody survived it. Just letting you know, not one person survived it. And if you can, you're a champion. But these times, and you're right, like sitting across from the guys that are, because I took 3rd in state, not good, but I'm sitting across from these guys. We're on the same bus, we're on the same flight, we're going out there to battle together. It really helped me believe that I could be where I wanted to be. And those experiences, whether or not you are the top guys, the Treys, the Justice, Kern, Mattern, whether you're those guys or not, that experience, 1, fun, but 2, so educational in just understanding who you are and who you could be. And then you go out there and you see it on a national level. Wisconsin, these teams that you know, like you said, got 2 teams that are dogs, 60 guys. They're ready to compete, and we're out there taking 10th place when we're getting our trying to get our best guys. And like you said, we don't have the best team that we send out there. There's 12, 15 other guys that I think we could have sent out there and all helped each other out get to where we want to be. And it's really crazy to see where Washington State ends up when we know we're not sending the best 60 guys. Like, you know, we got our dogs there, obviously. They're dogs, but, you know, we still had spots in the lineup where we could have filled. I think it's easy to see where we could be, you know, and now that we're going to help you guys and all the coach, we're all going to get together. We're going to try to make sure next year at state at these tournaments, I'm going to say, hey, listen, I know a guy named Ruben. Okay. They call him a rascal, but he's a nice guy. Okay. He is a nice guy. Okay. And we're going to try to help you guys get out there. But let's talk about the whole tournament as you know, in completion. Who really surprised you guys out there? You know, I know we talk about the guys we talk about, but who surprised you?
Caden Wilson, first one that comes to my mind. You know, I've
Okay,
watched
wait.
him.
Let's talk about who is Caden Wilson? Where's he from? Not that we don't know, just for everybody else.
Caden Wilson, I believe he's from Hanford. Um, you know, super. He just came out there, just guns blazing, and we asked a lot of them. We moved him up to make our team a little bit stronger because that's just one of the adjustments you have to do. So we moved him up from 175 to 190. You know, he goes out there and he, you know, he's just dropping dudes left and right, headlocking, freaking body locking guys to their back, just a freaking big old hoss. And he surprised me because, you know, some of these kids, what I love about duels is you never know who's going to rise to the moment. You know, I was always told, you know, you don't let the moment define you. He just went out there and just freaking was headlocking guys. He had a really funny saying actually before the tournament. It's not appropriate, but I won't say it. But he just went out there and just said, "I'm gonna go bang with these guys," and you know, Coach Zuniga knows. He just, you know, not appropriate, but he just pretty much said, "I'm gonna go out there and bang with these guys," and he was, you know, you know, did a great job. His awareness and you know, some kids, when they come to duels, we never know how conditioned they are. But he looked like he was training probably twice a day, every single day. You know, didn't look tired. Obviously a little bit beat up, but I believe he went 8-1 in Greco, and it was hilarious because the whole time he was telling us, he's like, "I'm not a Greco guy." I'm like, "Dude, you're a Greco guy." Like, you know,
Yeah,
you're
he did go
you're
8-1. I
awesome.
can confirm that he did.
Yeah, I think he dropped his last match, I believe, against Ohio, which was, you know, he was against a full blown 190 pounder. Um, but
Yeah, I was
man,
talking to some of my guys this week about how, you know, when you really think about a jump, you think about you're going up in weight, dude. 175 to 190, that's a jump. Okay, for even a strong 175er, if you're at the national level, 190 jumping up there, that's crazy. So, wow, that like, yeah, and I remember seeing that as well. Caden, yeah, Sam was talking to me about that. Like, wow, we secured. I think did we secure a duel because of a win?
Yeah, against Indiana and freestyle, right?
yeah, literally, we told him, "Hey, we need you to go out there and pin this guy." He's like, "Yep, no problem." Went out there, just pinned the dude real quick, and you know, it's one of those things you ask the athletes when we get there. You have to make those adjustments, and he had no complaint about it. He just went out there and he's like, "Dude, I like wrestling 190," and I was like, "Yeah, you look good at 90." So, you know,
Hey,
trying to
is
keep him happy and
Caden?
motivated.
We had a question. Is Caden a junior or a senior? Do you know?
He is a senior. Yes,
Okay, so he's graduating.
He's committed to North Idaho.
North
correct.
Idaho. Let's go. We can follow him as well. So Zuniga, who surprised you? I know if we let Ruben answer first all the time, he's going to take your guy. Like if he's your guy,
no, I don't really say he surprised me, but we actually Cohen missed his flight, so I waited back, and everyone was there besides Cohen. And imagine us not having Cohen at duels. So I went and I got him a different flight, and he ended up getting to duels like at 10, 11 o'clock at night. So me and Ruben in the middle of the night picked him up from the airport, and well, he's our heavyweight, and we're like, "Hey bro, you hungry?" We got stopped, and I was just glad that, you know, that he showed up, because going 9-0, and then I think winning another 6 and maybe dropping 2 matches only against some big boys when he's giving probably 35, 40 pounds, because he's like 240, 245, and he's wrestling 285-pound kids. And that kid, man, I didn't realize how good he was, but he surprised me, and he's a great wrestler.
Yeah,
he wasn't hungry getting off the flight, but then he ate like 16 wings when we went to Wingstop.
Oh, I bet he did. So, guys, so he's state champion for Lake Stevens at 215 pounds. So when you said he was wrestling 285, I was like, oh, okay. But then I was watching him wrestle. I was like, dude, bro, looks pretty big, man. Like he didn't look small wrestling those guys, but also like when you get to those heavier weights, like sometimes those sneaky like 220, 230, 240 pounders against a guy like who's 285 and maybe not as in good a shape, you know, they can start doing some damage. And he clearly did that. Honestly, for me, he was probably your guys' MVP. Honestly, he's similar to Bryson Dolly for the 16Us. He was winning a ton of matches, teching everybody. He was all tournament team in Greco, 9-0. I want to ask you guys about another wrestler real quick because we might not get to everybody, but for me, this one was kind of wild. It was a total wild card for me because I don't follow 1A very much. I'm in the 3A, 4A corner at state, right? And you know, even when you go to Northwest regionals and freestyle state and stuff, it's more the bigger schools in general, right? But you know, you have your Toppanishes and Ordings and stuff out there that are smaller schools and putting out guys like that are on the dual teams and all that. But Daryl Nampunya was, oh man, every single time I watched that guy wrestle, I was like, what are we going to get out of this guy? I haven't watched him much. But there was one match I watched where he was down like 7-0 or something, comes back and texts the guy 18-10. Can one of you guys talk about Daryl Nampunya and what are they feeding him up in OMAC? I don't know, but talk about Daryl a little bit for me.
Well, the thing with Daryl was he was our 138 pounder, and when we couldn't get Smokey or Pooch, who was Marcos, for 144. I called Daryl's mom and was like, hey, how big's Daryl? And she's like, he weighs like 147, 149. And I was like, keep him there. And she was like, well, let me talk to him first. Talk to him. And he's like, yeah, I'll go 44. And he did well for really being a 38 pounder and moving up to 44. And then with the 4 pound allowance. So it was 148. He was eating on the scale.
That's awesome.
We're almost at 38s in our ranks too, so we'll have to keep that. Is he a senior or?
He's going to be a senior. Yeah, going to be a senior. He was super fun, super savvy. Just a gamer, you know. He's never really wrestled Greco, but man, God, he's, you know, just really good at the hand fight, getting the 2-on-1s and ties. The match that he lost, unfortunately, you know, I mean, I think it was a singlet pull, but you know, not a test of skill. His skill was just right there. And then freestyle, man, same thing. You know, he just right there in all those matches, getting the legs, getting to his, you know, his best attacks. It's a lot of fun because that's the great thing about duels. You don't know, you know, like Sam said, I'm a 3A, 4A kind of guy, and that's where I've always coached and stuff. And you get a 1A guy, a kid from OMAC. I don't even know where OMAC's at, to be honest. And and you get a guy like that just comes out of nowhere and just freaking just lights it up. That's the, you know, that's the crazy fun part as a coach, I guess, about duels is you get these kids from the 1A, the 1B, you know, like Tenasket. I've had some really tough kids from Tenasket come out, and I think OMAC's around that area. You get a kid like that comes up, and you know, he puts his freaking, you know, puts his high school on the map, puts himself on the map, and he had a hell of a tournament. So
what do you think? Actually, this is what I want to talk about. Okay, can we talk about our freestyle duel against Oregon? Okay, it got chippy there for a bit. Can we describe? Because nobody, it's tough to see on the video. We can't really see what happened, but we got some unsportsmanlikes here or there. Word has it that Ruben wanted to fight the other coach. That's just what I heard. But So can we describe Omak's apparently about an hour north of Chelan, just to let you know. Not sure if that's actually close to Tonasket or not. I don't know, but that's what our backstage guy says. But tell me about our Oregon duel. What happened there? Where did the unsportsmanlike conducts come through at, and what happened? Go ahead.
First off, the Oregon duel was Coach Sunner's fault. He didn't know what weight we were starting at, and so we had the wrong kids go in. At
Oh
the beginning.
no!
Nobody knew that. We didn't know what, because we had a duel off, and we didn't know where we were starting. Next thing you know, we send our lightweight in, and I'm like, wait, what weight are we starting at? And it's already way too late, and I'm like, oh crap. So like we went. Oh man, I think we were down by like 20 points in the beginning.
It was 15-0. I think to start.
Something like that. That was Coach an error on Coach Zuniga's part, maybe mine, but I don't know. But
go ahead, Zuniga. Tell us the story. Fend for yourself here.
So we usually we'll like look at the phone and be like, okay, who's going in, and we kind of try to figure it out. And I guess it was an error because it was hard because we're moving DeAnthony Garcia he made 106, so we're moving him if we needed him at 13, depending on who the kid was. And then we had Wyatt Casey
Watts.
I don't know why I say Wyatt. Casey Watts, who made 100 literally he made it the day of. He weighed 102, and Coach Ruben was like, hey bro, you should make 100. You can really help us out. So just in case we needed him at 100 or 106, 113. So
is that all it takes is a hey bro? Is that
hey bro, you need to make 100.
I was in the sauna with him. I did it with him.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Continue on, Coach.
So that's pretty much what happened. Ruben and Coach Kaler allowed the wrong guys to go out, and then I said, hey, if we lose this, it's your guys' fault.
But we won.
Go back to the Minnesota match. The Minnesota
I was confident.
The second match we killed Minnesota, but the first one, if you remember, we lost. Ask Ruben why.
Ruben, why did we lose?
That was a coach error. you just make those little errors sometimes. I took, I had a little brain fart on my part. Minnesota is always tough. They could send 3 teams, and their third team is going to be real tough. And I thought, we just threw some guys out there, and obviously first match jitters and whatnot, and some kids just didn't perform up to what they should have. So we made some big adjustments the second time around, because you can even ask Coach Zuniga, like they had no clue. Like we bamboozled them. And the second time around, they had no clue who we were throwing out there, and we kind of beat their ass the second time.
They kept at their notepads, and I was like, "Look at brother, looking like, wait, that wasn't the same guy." No, it wasn't.
Nope.
Boom, boom,
I
boom.
fooled everybody. I just didn't really want to wrestle Illinois. I told all the Minnesota guys that when we were shaking hands.
That's
So
hilarious.
we have a comment here. I want to post it. I'm trying to copy and paste it from Instagram because Instagram's dumb. But I will get this on here right here. This is from Casey was a soldier and all over cool, especially Ruben owes Casey some dinner still. Can you tell us the dinner? You owe some dinner to our guy here.
Oh man, one of those, I made a coach's move. I told him to go down. He weighed in pretty light, and I was like, yeah, you should go down. And he just looked at me with a weird face. I was like, I don't care. I was like, go down and I'll buy you dinner wherever we go. So yeah, I do owe Casey dinner. Yes, I do.
Yeah, Trey Haynes says Ruben's never listening to put the right people in, dude. It's crazy. I also did the comment section are just dogging you the whole time.
Oh man, these guys like making fun of me.
I gotta stop doing this. But here's the cool part about Caden Wilson. I just want to talk about this real quick. But he took third at state. So and that's at the high school state. Obviously, he was first at Freestyle State. But it just goes to say, I mean, I think a lot of kids might have been like me. I took third too. It's like you may feel like you're on the outside looking in when you're, taking third. Now, yes, you come and you wrestle at freestyle state, you take first, and that's a different story. And you may be, really good at freestyle or just that next level competitor on the national side. But to be honest, sorry, there's other comments coming in here. To be honest, I want kids to understand that you can be third, you can be fourth, you can be fifth, you can be sixth. I mean, if you're a dog, you come out and compete, you show that you're ready to make some things happen. You could fall into the right place and turn out to be that Caden Wilson, the superstar of the duels. I got another comment here, and I don't know who this is from. Some of y'all might know this, but when is Ruben's birthday? From Betty Zuniga, 85. Who's that? Okay. When's Ruben's? It's your wife. Okay. When's Ruben's birthday? Because I got a guy in Texas that might be able to put you on the junior dual team next year. I know a guy.
You guys grab the footage of we were at Buffalo Wild Wings right before we left for our last team dinner. And
you went to 2 wing places on the trip?
Yeah,
Wingstop Buffalo Wild Wings. Just big wing guys over here.
And I think it was Noah Kayoma. I watched him whisper to the server, and I looked at him and him Trey, and I believe it was Justice looked right back at me, and I just shook my head. I already knew what they were doing. And then Ruben was talking on the side, and then here they come out with the happy birthday.
Oh, gotcha. They got you. The classic birthday move. The classic birthday move. Yeah.
Bro, that happened to me, but at Hooters, and it was even worse. This is
not that we would have gone to Hooters at any time on a dual team, thing. So
it was at Tri-State my freshman year. They all said it was my birthday. I actually was my birthday, but Hooters, if you guys have ever been there, I don't even know if they even exist anymore. It's hard to find those nowadays, but they exist. They exist. Probably out in the middle of nowhere. But they had me stand up on a chair and dance. But that is so funny to me because when we went out to dinner as a dual team, those were some of the funnest times, bro. When everybody's clowning on each other, you're done wrestling, and you've wrapped up the day, and you get to eat.
I will tell you, for me, and we just to let you guys know, we got about 3 crying emoji reacts on our live stream just from that last segment there. So we're doing good here. But if you remember Ruben, Erich Schmidtka, you remember him from he was Aberdeen, right?
Schmidtke.
Yeah, Schmidtke, dude. His real name is Schmidtka, but he's like a Greek god. The guy's like a Greek god. But the thing about the dual team is, like you said, you don't even have a clue where Omak is. All of a sudden, this guy's coming in and he's sitting right next to you on the flight, and you're like, man, this guy seems like he's angry all the time. Nicest guy in the world. I roomed with him. Soft. Look, he'll beat you up. Anybody on the team he'll beat up, but nicest guy in the world. We ended up becoming friends, and it's just a cool time. It's a great environment. It's crazy to me that we don't have 100 kids out for the dual team every year, really. Wait a second. What school does Justice go to again, Zuniga?
Toppenish. Come on.
Women
man.
Crush Wednesday? That's what that looks like to me. That's what Toppenish. How many? Why can't we get more top kids out there? What?
You know what? You said it first, but I was, it's one of those things where I just started the last 2 years, Toppenish USA, which now we're, we have freestyle and Greco. So it hadn't, I don't know, it's just Justice. I know Tony Nava, he was part of our cadet team last year. Stevie Romero, he was also part of our cadet team last year, but he got hurt because he was actually going to be our 113 pounder, but he just got out of surgery. But other than that, that's a good question. I tell my guys all the time, we need more, kids coming. We have Audon Clark. I missed him. He was on the cadet team. But other than that, it was just Justice and Audon. Hopefully we can make a change this next year, and I can get way more kids from Toppenish.
Yeah, because Matt and I's region is actually showing out for you guys the most. Snohomish County showed up.
West Side,
Mattern, Lake Stevens, you got Gil Mossberg, Glacier Peak, and you got Trey Haynes
and
from
Baxter.
Arlington.
Baxter
was on the team too, but you got 9-0, 8-1, and 6-1, all from Snohomish County. And I know that there's some dogs in the Yakima Valley that could be
Trey
on that
almost
team. And
come to duels. Actually, he was gonna go to Nebraska for a camp, but
that's what I heard. That's what he
yeah,
told us in the podcast, episode 1.
talking to him about it, and like that's one thing. I have a good relationship with these kids and with their parents, where I have to, I'm calling them almost every other day or emailing them, and I'm just like, man, they need to come to duels. This kid's gonna be there. It's gonna be so much fun. And another thing too is I'm given a number as well. Like I can only take so many kids as well. We can only take 21 kids.
Yeah.
2 coaches and myself. Hopefully next year, the number changes and it goes from like maybe 21 kids to 20, 26, 28 kids, because that was another thing is our kids going 8-1, and then we still haven't even wrestled freestyle. They're dead tired. They're exhausted. It's hard to wrestle like that. So you get a team like Ohio who has a blue, a red, and then they have a whole different freestyle team. It's like, dang, where the hell did they come from?
Yeah, some of these states that have blue and reds that were better than it makes me wonder a little bit, and Matt and I are going to keep doing what we're doing and keep helping promote you guys. But I think we could have a blue and a red.
Trey's
why
in
not?
Nebraska. Trey's in Nebraska right now. That's what he said. He
Yeah,
also said that Ruben was caught sleeping on his shoulder on the ride over. Here's a question right from Instagram here. How do we get more funding for the dual teams to send more wrestlers and coaches? That's a comment right from Chase Wickman on Instagram. Thanks for the comment, Chase, by the way. Appreciate you
Chase
guys.
Wickman, great wrestler from Vashon Island.
Vashon Island kid, actually. Yeah, I remember him. I think I coached him on the dual team too.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah. More funding. I don't know. Probably through. I mean, it's probably through our state and everything else that we have to talk about. I think. If we keep bringing it up, and it's a conversation to have, because I mean, I don't see why we couldn't bring 2 dual teams. To be honest, obviously we're gonna have our studs on our first line. But we have so many kids across the state. I mean, God, we have 5 divisions in Washington. There's there should be no reason why we don't have 2 dual teams.
Here's a question.
Justin Newby does a great job with that. I think it goes back down to the kids wanting to come. With less kids coming. So then it's like, why are we gonna pay for 28 tickets and only 21 kids go, and we can't get refunded the last 7 tickets? So
what do you mean you guys pay? What does that mean? You guys pay?
I don't pay.
Well, yeah, no. I'm saying, like, what do you mean you're paying? Is like, are the parents not helping foot the bill for some of this, or?
Oh, no. I said Justin Newby does a great job, like, with the funding. Like, we have the funding. I think it's like $600 for each kid, which is probably way cheaper than everywhere else. Like California, I believe. I was talking to my buddy Izzy, and he said they pay like $1,600 to be on the team. So for us, it's only $600. It's not too bad. It's affordable. We keep it affordable for the kids to be able to, all they have to bring is food money. We have flight and hotel paid for.
Okay, I get what you mean. So here's what I would like to say too, and Sam and I are burdening this a little bit on us too, because next year we want to be involved in this. We want to be involved in some. Maybe there's a fundraiser. I mean, maybe there's a podcast that we could put out. It's like, hey, we could do a live fundraiser or something like that. I mean, any money can help. I mean, even if it's just food money, again, just to help you guys out down there, because there is a lot of people that do want to contribute, don't know how, and again, that's our fault. Me and we just started this. We're gonna help to kind of boost that up, but there's not enough of this, right? So we're gonna do whatever we can to try to get there next year. Do you guys have your eyes set on any cadets that are moving up to you guys that like, hey, tell me about them. Tell me about them.
Go ahead, Ruben.
Man. So me and Coach Zuniga, we did cadets last year. And, same thing. We were a match out from making the gold pool in Greco. And same thing in freestyle. We're a duel or two away. Yeah, well, it's kind of the same scenario. We gave up a forfeit against Wisconsin, and Wisconsin I don't think was a better team than us, but it just worked out that way. And then they took fourth, and I said, man, if we were in the gold pool, we could have beat fourth place and below, with the team that we had. But there's some pretty good kids, and I still talk to them quite a bit, and obviously keep that interest for them coming in. You got your Owen Marshall, you got the DeRocher brothers.
And we love those guys.
Yeah,
We'd
they're
like
awesome.
we'd
They're
like to have
awesome.
the twin brothers DeRocher basically coming on the
Yeah.
pod because they seem like they would be the new Washington Masola brothers or whatever you call
Yeah.
those. You know what I mean?
They're
Yeah.
awesome. They're fun to watch. They're competitors. They're dogs.
They're top
So
ranked too, so we'll be out there looking to see if they can, hold on to the top crowns, right, Sam? They're dominant. So keep going. We like them.
you got Bryson Dolly sitting out there. You got and the crazy thing is how young of a team we had too for juniors. You have Trey Haynes, Noah Kayoma, you have Justice all coming back. Those are three good dudes right there. And Daryl Nonpuya, he'll be a senior, but still eligible to come back. So quite a bit of our team, yes, they were young coming into junior duels this year, but then you have some younger guys coming in as well. I mean, we're gonna have a pretty good freaking team next year. I mean, me and Coach Zuniga already talked about it. I don't, I don't understand. I don't see why we can't make the gold pool next year. So,
Well, here's what I would like to say. I got to cut the Instagram stream off because we're hitting at about an hour. So everybody on Instagram, click through to our YouTube. You can follow along the video. Click through to the YouTube. We will be there. Okay, let's talk about Zeke McEwen. All tournament team in freestyle 6-0. Tell me a little bit about his tournament on the freestyle side.
he had a great tournament. I mean, man, just he's good at getting to the legs, good at his transitions, very smooth and technical wrestler. He's not afraid to bang in the box. But at the same time, he's very strategic. He knows how to get to his 1, 2, 3 attacks, and very good. And another thing too is Caden was a little tired of going 190, so I was like, "Oh, Zeke, time for your new weight class." And he's going out there sweep singling guys on their faces and leg lacing them and gutting them. And every time he'd come off, I'm like, "Man, you look good at 90." So yeah, he had an awesome tournament. Yeah, I think it was really good because kids like that before they enter college and stuff, it's a pretty good like motivation for them. Like, hey, I just came off an undefeated duels, and I believe he's going to Fargo as well. So hopefully he kind of rides that in, keeps training hard, and it'd be nice to see him get on the podium over at Fargo.
Let's transition into that. Are you guys going to end up going out to Fargo? Coach Zuniga, I'm sure you're going to be out there just because you got your son out there, right? And then Ruben, are you coaching out there again? What's that look like for both you guys? I'll let Coach Zuniga go first on this.
Yeah, so pretty much, I'll be out there. Coach Ruben will be out there. We have Ruben's boy, Kenny Sanders. He'll be out there. We have Joey Riojas, who's from Granger. He'll be out there. And then Jeff Kaler, and
Manny
then Manny
Plata.
Plata. Yeah, Manny will be out there, who's Chihuahua. So, and then we get at least a group of like 10 coaches that will come down. They're either dads and coaches or just coaches that'll come help out. So we always have the numbers, and we always have enough coaches out there to help out.
Yeah, Baxter, I think his dad's coming down. I think we're traveling with them, our coaches on our side. You guys should. I mean, who do you think's gonna? A couple of the kids gonna have like phenomenal tournaments out there at Fargo. I mean, it's tough to kind of pinpoint who because you want to say we all. It's just like who wants to say we're not. But is there somebody who you think's who do we have all Americaning? Is that right? All Americaning? Yeah. Who's gonna be all American at Fargo?
Cohen. I think Cohen's gonna all American for sure. I think Caden can do it. Zeke.
Justice. I mean, is there some?
Justice. A lot of weight classes as well. If they're willing to sacrifice. It's tough.
Ruben,
right.
what about you? Is there any guys that you're eyeing in addition to what Coach Zuniga just
Man,
said?
I definitely say around the same. I think, different styles. Man, that junior freestyle tournament, that's a freaking tournament to navigate, and you got to have three of the best days of your life to to win that tournament. Speaking for myself, because I have won that tournament, in junior freestyle, but it was probably the three best days and the three best weight cuts of my life.
Yeah.
I took no shortcuts in that one. So I think definitely Cohen. I think Wilson and McEwen are going to be pushing. I think Trey Haynes, Kyoma, Dom Thomas, Justice, Nanpuya, Daryl Nanpuya. I think if Josh Newart goes, I'm not sure if he's going. He had a hell of a tournament too. Um, I think those guys are going to be pushing. It's hard to say are they going to reach the podium, because if you've ever been back to that tournament, man, that's
Yeah.
like I said, it's a tough tournament to say like, oh, you're gonna for sure place. No, because there's a lot of good dudes who, they lose early or they come back or whatever. It's a tough one to say, but I think those guys are going to be pushing. To hopefully get on that podium in freestyle or Greco. So.
All
Yeah,
right. Go ahead, Sam.
I was just gonna say, because we got more viewers tuning in now. I just want to set the stage or make it clear to everybody, how big of a deal and how big these tournaments are, junior duels and Fargo. I don't know if people are aware. Most people who are tuning in maybe are, but if you're not, you look at like the Team Ohio, those Team Wisconsins. There, all those guys are future Olympians. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them, and then a majority of their starting lineup are D1 commits. And when we're looking at Washington wrestling, we don't have a D1 program here. We got the Brandon Kaylors going to Oregon State, and some people committing to Utah Valley and trying to stay local a little bit. Some guys going to Stanford, like Lars Michelson and all that. But when we're competing at the highest level, that is good for us, and it is a fantastic job by you guys, for you coaches and you wrestlers, going and put yourselves out there against the Mirasolas, against the Aiden Sinclairs, against the Marcus Blazes, all these guys, man. This is why we wanted to bring you guys on, because it is where we want to be. And this isn't going to happen overnight, but I think that we are on our way to it, and you guys are doing a great job. And I just want to recognize that for a minute. Go ahead, Matt.
Two things. So I got one question to end my side of this podcast, but two, I know you guys don't have as much involvement on the girls' side, but it seems like the girls seem to do really well. Our 14Us are, so do you have any comment on the girls? I know over there at top, they got some really fantastic ones. Our girls are crushing it, aren't they? I mean, isn't it pretty cool to see? I mean, we just don't got the girls. We got the girls. Like, they're the ones that a lot of people are chasing. Go ahead, coach.
I like the girl side. I think it's fun. It's entertaining. Um, my sister was one of the very first state champions when they sanctioned girls wrestling in the state of Washington. And, she was my training partner my whole life. She's 3 years older than me, I believe. And so, I mean, I've always been big into girls wrestling. I used to, on my off days and weekends when I was growing up, I traveled with my sister, down to Michigan back when girls nationals, which was in Texas, it used to be called Body Bar, and we would travel on down to Oregon or whatever. So I love watching the girls and seeing where it's taken off. I love watching. I remember when I think it was three girl wrestlers for Team Washington back in Fargo. Probably Sam, right? But like Cami Ike. I think it was like Alicia Beach and maybe
Yeah.
some other random girl. I think it was maybe by the time my last years of doing Fargo, they actually were bringing a full team. But it's cool to see where it's at. And for me as a coach as well, when I was coaching at White River, Shelby Moore, obviously, going back to back, and her being in the room grinding with, a lot of these guys as well. But it's cool to watch where Washington girls wrestling is, because I think we're a pretty big, powerhouse when it comes to girls wrestling. It's awesome to see our state tournament to what it's evolved into, and I always get super excited for the girls because it's their own division, so they're not sharing it with their guys. They're spotlighted themselves, and it's a pretty big platform nowadays. I think what girls wrestling is like one of the fastest growing sports.
The fastest, I think,
Yeah,
on the female side.
my daughter's in a redshirt season right now. She's not having very fun with it, but
Mine too, bro. Mine too. Mine
so
too. Trying
so
our
we're
best out here.
we're
My daughter,
redshirting a
my
couple
daughters love.
years, so we'll
Yeah.
see.
All right,
But
go ahead,
you take
Zuniga.
Coach
Hold on.
Zuniga, yeah,
Yeah,
Coach Zuniga's
Zuniga,
daughter.
go ahead. He's entering the space here. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I don't have that problem. My daughter loves wrestling. She's a
She has
savage.
no choice, so
Well,
over.
and she I took her to that camp acoustic with us where we're able to be with the girls as well. And my daughter, so she'll be coming up. She'll be 14U, I think, like in another year, I think, because she was 12U last year and she's only 10. But she got to grind with those girls and to be around London, Houston, to be around Victoria, to be around Desiree, to be around Jordan, what they're doing, to be around all those coaches who are coaches now but once were in that same position, and they're giving back. I feel like has a lot to do with the success. Bodie bringing them in. And I love to see it. My daughter's going to be a part of it one day. So I love to see it. I love that. I'm always just for Washington. I'm always team Washington. Believe me, I'll rep Toppiness to the fullest. But, when it comes to the end, I'm for team Washington. And that's why I'm here doing this. You know what I mean? Because at the end of it, I'm just happy when I see, Washington winning,
Yeah,
The
I
boys
think we all
right
feel
now,
that way too. Yeah, well, I mean, say what it is, but the girls are crushing it. So,
yeah.
and all the love to them, and keep doing it, because we have a really nice, great girl in our room, and she's really good. And sometimes it's easy to kind of be defeated when there's not enough girls to practice around. I mean, some of the girls, especially our high school, there's like 12 of them. Then they have their own girls team, and it's like, I was just talking to the gal that wrestles at Simon Fraser, who was in our practice room this week, and she was like, "Yeah, in high school, I didn't have that many good partners because I was the tough one, and I had to slow it down a little bit." So it's tough. We're still growing it, but it's nice to see that while we are still growing it, they are getting to the off season, the good rooms to really continue their craft, because they're dogs. And the reason why they're dogs, because all of them are dogs and they're wrestling each other and they're making each other great. And it's truly awesome, like what's going on in the top room. And that's what Justice had mentioned. My last question comes from someone who gave us this question. What do you think, after seeing it, reflecting on it, what's the difference between Team Washington and the other teams that place better? I mean, we were top 10 in Greco, get it. Weren't top 10 in freestyle, understand. We didn't bring one wrestler, so we can understand that. We can explain that away. But what else do you think it was?
I think numbers have to do with a lot of it. You get if you don't have enough, and you can't say backups. I don't like using the word backup because we're not taking a kid who's just backing that kid up. Like when you get really tired, these kids go 8 matches and they have no break. We could be going, every other match, or when we feel like whoever matches up better, then we're gonna put that kid in at the time. But if we had, 9 kids that were extra in between each, that would help us a lot, because when you only have 4 or 5 backup kids who can fill almost every third of the weights, then when the kid's tired, like Dustin Baxter or Gil or Justice, there's nothing we can do. It's like you have to go in. And I think numbers play a huge role when it comes to that.
I agree. I think the numbers is the biggest part. He hit it right there. I'm uh kind of begging and also telling these guys at the dual tournament, like, hey, you're going in, man. Fuck you. Me and Justice kind of had a exchanged a few words, and a couple other wrestlers as well. And I get it, they're tired, but at the same time, we're competing as well, and we're trying to get this win. So obviously we want to put our best wrestler out there on the mat, and you can see it in some of these kids. Round one, they're they're all gas, and then you just see them kind of fatigue. But that's because they're 14 matches in, and it's tough. You have I take Minnesota because we wrestled their 1 and 2 team, but man, they have two backups for each team. And that just says a lot about Minnesota, how deep they are. But I think for us too, I mean, we are that deep. We are that tough. We just got to get a little bit more buy-in. And, I think if we had a roster of 30 kids, 28, I think, we wouldn't really come across that problem as much.
That's like I said, something that we're going to try our best to help you guys out with for sure on our side. But now it's kind of cool because we asked you, it's like, hey, who are the cadets coming up? We already know we got 2-year juniors in, the guys moving up, the Trey, the Justice, we have those guys. We already know they're locked in. So we're going to definitely help with some of those numbers. But you know what? This podcast is going to help with some of those numbers. People are going to see it's like depth. Depth is our issue here. We didn't have a 113 at all. We would have been All-American as a team in Greco. Who would have known what would have happened? And then again, if we would have had the extra kids, got some breaks, and we're not throwing in backups. Like you said, these are great kids we're throwing in again. And who knows how that works? Like we said, Caden Wilson came out. We need a headlock. We need it. Comes out and he gets it. I mean, when all the gusto's on the line, you don't know who can turn out and show out for you, but you can't really expect anything more than the kid you just threw out there 8 times, and now he's coming out there for a 9th. It's like, man, we're getting half of what that kid could give us because we just don't have enough of that break. Sam, do you have a last comment?
Well, just to follow up on that a little bit too, I don't want to, there's nothing we can do per se. This is not within our control necessarily about not having a D1 program here in our state. It is what it is right now. We don't have a D1 program. We got a couple, JCs, NAIA school, and we're going to, give them the platform that they deserve because they're all we got. But if you look at the entire population of Washington State and the amount of wrestlers that we have, like we're bigger than Minnesota, we're bigger than Wisconsin are, just as far as like sheer numbers go, right? So I think that we're doing a good thing. I think that you guys are doing a great thing. This is just going to snowball as long as that we keep marketing it and keep giving the people that are doing it and are out putting themselves out there and competing deserve. So my last question for you guys is what give me a tangible goal for next year. Whether it's the numbers of the guys on the team, is it actual.
Okay, hold on. Let's read this comment real quick. Let's read the comment. I think for how short of a notice he got and being called for 113 originally, Casey deserves more praise for all he did. And we called out Casey earlier in the podcast as well.
100%.
But yes, coaches, let's talk about Casey Watts real quick.
I agree. He not only did he come through, but he scored us a point in every match. And even if he lost that match, he got a push out. We're like, hey, we need a point because we're down, so we need to make it 3-1 rather than getting teched and it's 4-0. So he was scoring points. Him and DeAnthony, bringing them both on last minute, they were scoring points and they were winning. I think day one, I think Casey went like 4-5 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
He did awesome, and for him to go last minute and then for him to cut the last 2 pounds last minute, for that dinner for Coach Navejas.
Yeah, Ruben. Hey, we talked about that. Casey basically said, or Ruben said, yeah, we're gonna need to do this here. That's basically, he didn't really give the guy a choice, and good for him for responding, man. And you know what? We don't talk enough about this as coaches. There's a lot of kids that will shut down to you when called upon, and Casey did not shut down. Kid's a dog. That kid deserves a lot for showing out to do that for us. So thank you very much for that. For sure. So Sam,
I want a solid answer though from the coaches, because we're gonna circle back to this next year when we have you guys on following the duels, or maybe even right before. What's the goal for next year? What place do we want, or what are we looking for?
Well, I'll go real quick. And Cesar Quintanilla was another one because he's also a 16U kid, and he came with us and at a pretty tough weight class. Him and Dom were at that weight class, and so he's another one that I wanted to shout out. For going up, moving up, because when he goes this year to Fargo, I think he's going to do well because he's not going to be with the juniors. It's 3 minutes, and he'll be with the 16U. He'll be going 2 minutes. So I think he's going to do well because he has some tough matches. But
Ruben, what do you got?
Yeah, for us, I like to I definitely like to make that gold pool. I like to be top 8 in the country. I definitely think that's where I'm not gonna say we deserve or earn, but we got to obviously work towards it and whatnot. But I think realistically, I think that's where we can sit. Me and Coach Kaler, it was Brandon, his son's senior year. Jeff Moore was the director. Man, there was some freaking dogs on that team. You had Phillips, Drury, Yakupin, Lilly, so we got talented. We got talent in this state. We do, from if you're a 4A all the way down to the B or whatever. We got talent sitting in this state. We just got to get everybody on the same page and put one of those teams together, where we got everybody across the state to go and compete. Because I think it was my very first year coaching juniors. We took third in Greco and we took sixth in freestyle.
Wow.
And and like I said, I named off some of those kids, and it we built it around some really tough kids. So I know we got the depth in this state. We just got to get everybody bought in early and committed. And I know we can. I know that at the end of the duels, me and Coach Zuniga would be really happy because I know that we can be in the gold pool for both freestyle and Greco. I think we have the guys to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's
especially in this state. So
nothing worse than the pain of regret, really, like knowing what you could do, and that's it. And so now we're gonna put all of our effort towards what you could do, and we're gonna all help us get there. Because next year we could, just looking at it, we got some great teams around here, and everywhere, junior cadet, the girls, everywhere. We have some great teams, and we'll be really happy to really help push that forward. But guys, hour 16, geez, my guy's in the car, in the hallway. We lost Coach Kaler. Okay, we lost Coach Kaler, but I really appreciate you guys for coming on. And it's not easy. We put you to the fire a little bit, which in no disrespectful way. We want everybody to be successful here, and we just appreciate all your time, and not to mention, man, really appreciate the effort. Coaches, what we go through, we take the time off, we get out there, we help these kids out because we love this sport, we love the kids, we want to see them doing good, we want to see the sport move forward. And I appreciate you guys because I know how tough it is being coaches. I know how tough that grind can be. Sometimes we don't get enough love for all the stuff that we do, and I want you to know that I appreciate you guys for sure. So I want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for supporting us. And Sam, you can.
Yeah, the same thing. I mean, you guys are doing a fantastic job. Like Matt said, we brought you on to ask some of the hard questions, and we're not trying to put you guys on the hot seat or anything. We just want to let the viewers know about what happened and how we can get better and what you guys are looking forward to in the future, because we know that the future is bright for the state, and I know that you guys know that too. And that's a big reason why we had you on, and we just want to just chat about it. And we're going to circle back to this. That's why I was asking about next year, because we could do this every year and just keep talking about ways to get better and ways to get more wrestlers out there. And but most of all, just again echoing what Matt said, coaches, I feel like a lot of times get underappreciated, and we're just very thankful for you guys. And I know a lot of your wrestlers are thankful for you guys and what you do and sacrificing your time away from your families and travel and all that. It's huge, man. And it's not for the money. It's not for anything else, but other than just giving back to the sport. And that's what it's all about, man. So thanks for coming on, guys. Appreciate you.
Hey, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. This is awesome. I hope all the viewers that are watching this, they know that hopefully that Washington's we're a powerhouse. We just got to get everybody all on board. And I think this is awesome that you guys are doing this. I really appreciate being on here.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. And the last thing I'll say for the entire podcast is, it's we have unfortunately hit some rails of hate a little bit from people, and we laugh at it. It doesn't affect us at all. I mean, hey, you don't think this kid should be ranked here, or you don't think this kid, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, man. We love that. And you know what? Here's the thing: the
I love
concourse.
watching.
Yeah, yeah,
I
we all
love
do
it.
love it, and that's okay. Like we don't all have to agree, but what we can agree on is that we're here for the sport. We're here for the state. We're here for the wrestlers. We're here to give a little bit more juice to everybody. And I think without this, what would we be doing? Like nobody else is doing this. We are, because we love it and we think that it's great. And Sam, like I said before, man, you're doing a killer job. We might have misspelled somebody's name. Hey, sorry, annihilate us for it. Sorry about that. But what we're trying to do here is a lot of extra effort and work. And for the people that do give us all the praise and say thank you, man, hey, we EJ, thank you, Jordan, everybody. We really appreciate the positivity that's coming out here. And like I said, coaches, you guys help us with that, because it's not easy to come on here and talk about this stuff. It's really not. And you put yourselves out there for it, and we appreciate that. So we'll let you guys sign off, and thank you so much again. And we will see you guys soon, and hopefully dominate. But I'm Matt. He is Sam Otto. We are the Washington Wrestling Rankings podcast, and we appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for this, and we will see you guys next time.